I look back at those memories, those good memories when my child was able to do all these things. But now here he is. He can't even sit unsupported on its own. He can't crawl, he's not even seeing me. He has a case, he has CVI, cortical visual impairment, because the part of the brain that are responsible for seeing has been affected. I'm Mrs. Bello, and this is Mush, my son. Well, Mush was very healthy at birth. He has attained all his milestones, even taking his first step at 9 months before he became ill. So when he was ill, I went to the hospital, but they said it's malaria, just like normal hospital said. They said it's malaria. They gave us medications and we went back home. But the second day, the temperature keeps spiking. So around 4 in the evening, he wasn't responsive, so I had to rush him to a close by hospital. Even went to 3 different hospitals. But get it one day, which they admitted him, they tried to resuscitate him, which they did. We're in the hospital. So at around 12:30 a.m., the doctor that was on call at that point, when he came into the ward, he said this was more than what they can handle at that hospital, that we had to be referred to National Hospital in Abuja, which they gave us the referral letter. It was already late. We weren't mobile, so they had to use their ambulance with oxygen and everything to carry us. We got to National Hospital. Unfortunately, there wasn't bed space. So we were to go to Gwagwalada General Hospital, but it's a bit far. So before we got to Gwagwalada, there's another hospital, Federal Medical Center in Jabi. So we stopped there. On getting there, there was bed space, so we admitted that night. They did everything they could do at that point. So in the morning, when the consultant came in, we're in the general pediatric ward. But when the consultant came in and saw the case, how he was, so we moved from the general ward to the emergency ward. So we're there. They were giving him all they could do. On the second day or third day, he slipped into coma. So, which were just there. They kept changing medications. He was convulsing at the same time. Things were so bad that the doctors were confused. At a point, they wanted to even refer us to another hospital. But that state there was no way they could do that. So we were there for he was in that state for 2 weeks plus, in that state of comatose. So finally, when he was conscious, he became conscious. So but he couldn't tolerate feed at that time. So he was being fed through the NG tube for days. So before I started trying to breastfeed him again, so he was able to tolerate the breast milk. So finally, after we were discharged. Actually, I was told that with all that happened, there might be chances that he would have lost some milestones. Like he won't be able to sit again. He won't be able to do all he has been doing before. And we were told to check his eyes at that point before even we left the hospital. So which we checked. They were even unable to check it, but from what they saw, the eyes was already affected. Even the hearing too was affected at that point. Even he doesn't feel anything at that point. No, because I haven't even heard about cerebral palsy. But at that point, they told me with what happened, it's possible that it has resulted to cerebral palsy. So getting home, which to my own little knowledge, I was thinking that, okay, maybe after a period of 2 weeks, 1 month, he will start getting all the milestones back. But I was still in the journey like that. So 2 months, 3 months, I wasn't seeing any change. Every development stopped. His hair growth, teeth didn't grow, everything stopped. There's this problem you used to have again. When you are feeding him, the food will start coming through his nose. It's called aspiration. Maybe you're feeding, before you know, all the food will start coming through his nose. And that one always takes us to the hospital. Almost every now and then, hospital became our second home. Like if we're out of the hospital this week, maybe 3 days time we are back in the hospital. That was how it was all through the journey. But that, like, after like 6 months in the journey, I saw that the teeth started growing. Even his hair started growing again, which was giving me hope that, okay, probably we'll get there. He lost the ability to smile, so along the he couldn't smile. Like, so I think like 9 months later, that was the first time I saw my son smile again. And he smiled again now. So with that, we're doing therapy. We're told to be doing therapy. We'll go to the eye clinic to do all the things. So at the end of the day, we kept doing the therapy, thinking that within 6 months, my hope was still high that maybe we'll get out of this situation soon. But as time goes on, we kept moving. So till we relocated to Lagos. Getting to Lagos, we don't even have access to hospital like there, because he's also asthmatic along with all this. So there was a time he had crisis very early in the morning. We went to the hospital here in Lagos. I'm getting there, no bed space. So we're just giving the normal treatment and we came back home. But what I see that whenever we go to the hospital, the first thing they do, they use nebulizer. So I had to get that nebulizer at home for him because he's also asthmatic. So we have that nebulizer at home. So before I even take him to the hospital, I would have used it for him to see if he's going to be stable. So anytime I just sense anything like asthma crisis, I quickly use all his medication before it gets to the extent of it, because surprisingly, you go to the hospital, they will tell you no bed space. You have to go to private hospital, and private hospitals are not 5 kobo, it's expensive. The good experience is just we are trying to love them the way they are. That it is difficult. It is even very hard for us that you see your child, like myself. This is a child that was already walking. This is a child that has already said daddy. This is a child that could call 1 or 2 people's name, was playing with all his siblings. Even at that point when he became ill, the siblings were worried. They were like, Mommy, why is Mush not talking again? Why is Mush not talking? I'm like, you know, we're in the hospital for a very long time. Probably he will pick up as time goes on. So those are the things. And one major thing about our case is that it is very expensive to cater for this student. And the truth is that I don't work because I have to be there. If I'm to employ somebody, a caregiver for him, it's expensive. To get a caregiver that will give you that care, that you know that your child is in a safe hand, it's very expensive. And at the end of the day, you can even pay that huge amount of money, and the person might not still give you that service needed for him to be able to keep moving. That's one of the challenges. We don't even have hospitals for this. You go to the hospital, they will tell you, maybe when you have crisis or your child is in a critical condition, you get to the next, they will tell you there is no bed space. And if you don't have the money, is not there, you can't rush to a private hospital without money. So these are the challenges we face. But the only thing we do in this journey is that I myself have put it at the back of my mind that cerebral palsy is a lifelong journey. Today, Mush might decide to pick up and start working. Mush might pick up and start doing all he can do. And at the same time, I look at it that there are people that have cerebral palsy that don't work, that are wheelchair bound, that they are grown. So putting that at the back of my mind has prepared me for the journey. It has prepared me for the journey. So that is how we've been living. The challenges we have here is that medications, all their medications, quite expensive. Because he was placed on seizure drugs, seizure, then you can see he keeps stretching. If you notice, he keeps stretching. He has drug for stiffness. He has medications. So which, if you are not a working mother, then if you are not a worker, it will be very difficult for you to get all this money for all these things. There are times I have my grieving moment that I look back at those memories, those good memories when my child was able to do all these things. But now here he is. He can't even sit unsupported on its own. He can't crawl. He's not even seeing me. He has he has CVI, cortical visual impairment, because the parts of the brain that are responsible for seeing has been affected. So Mush can't see me, and this is a child that we're able to communicate. We could do a lot of things together. So that's how the journey has been. Like when we first moved into this Lagos, there was a day I was in a bus. And just the way he was crying, he kept crying and crying. The next person, madam, do this, madam. They keep foreclosing to their affair, but they don't understand the situation of things. I was even shedding tears at that time because I was like, if I was mobile, I won't be in a public transport. If I'm in a private, in my own car, nobody would foreclose into my affair. So those are one of the things. Some people see it as it's contagious, but the truth is that CP is not contagious. Some people see them and say they are caused. Some people say, it's the handwork of the mother, but the truth is that CP doesn't have to do with any of these things. Most of cases of CP are even from birth, but this very one, and which I've seen similar cases too, some are acquired. As far as the child is still growing, that the brain is not yet fully developed, anything can happen at the line, and it might affect the brain. For the stress, when he's sleeping, I try to catch a little sleep. When he's sleeping, I'm able to do one or two things for myself. When he's calm, even sometimes when the siblings are back from school, they assist, then I'm able to do some things for my own self. The first thing we do in this journey is acceptance. If you've accepted your child that, okay, this is the situation of things, he has cerebral palsy, you learn to love him along the line. And if you begin to love him, other people will love him. You can imagine if I carry him, the way I'm carrying him, you'll be forced to join me to carry, even if you are not comfortable with it. But if you see the way I treat him, you will want to do the same, even when you go back home and tell yourself this, that. But the first thing is love. If you show them love, your neighbors will do the same. That is the truth. And for us to carry them out, it is not easy. Let's be frank and sincere. It is not easy carrying them out, especially if you are not the one that is mobile. If you are not mobile, you can't just carry your child. A child that is as big as this, you back him and say you want to take him out. It is not easy. But if there are chances for you to take them out, the more people see them, the more people get to know. The first time you see Mush, you'll be more like, what is wrong with this child? But as time goes on, maybe you see him today, you see him tomorrow, you see him continuously, you start having affection for him. You won't even know that you started having feelings for that. Okay, this child is just like this. So that is it. It is not easy for us to take them out. That is it. Because if you are not mobile, it will not be easy. You can't carry a child of 10 years and say you want to start going out. But the little way we can do the awareness, just like I did for Mush. It's not as if I go out so much, but a lot of people know about Mush. I don't go out so much. But with the Instagram page, a lot of people have got to know who Mush is. For everyone that has a child living with CP, let's learn to show them love. If we love them, people around us will show them love. The way you treat your child, that is the way others will treat your child. So that is it. Let's just show them love and we'll keep moving.